Hey yo YouTube, I am here to continue talking about my D&D game. Where I left off, the party was surrounding a door in front of a bunker. Um, I have Raw Right step forward and check the door out, see if how exactly he could open it, whether or not we could just lift it, yank it open, or if he could pick it or something. The DM looks at a few things. I believe he does make me do a roll. I think a search roll is what he made me do, and I rolled like a 30 something. And he tells me I come to the conclusion that I can't open it. I I guess I had it where Raw Right said it, but technically it was a player statement where I asked when we walked the glooms earlier or before we went through the wall, right? And the demon was like, yes. And I think that's what we were supposed to do last week too. Was we were supposed to walk the glooms and just sneak in here. Because I was kind of, like last week I mentioned how I wasn't sure if we were supposed to fight or not. But I have her all right ask the female Wimmick if she would rather go to safety or if she would rather continue with us and I guess fight. I want to say I did this before he checked the door, and she says that she wants to stay until she finds her friend or her companion or mate or whatever it is. Uh, so I yell over to Onyx that that's what she wants. Onyx throws his +1 scimitar to her. We do end up asking the Bushman if he wants to come to. Uh, and at first, whenever I thought we were going to unlock the door, I said, like, don't worry about searching the body, stuff like that. But now that I know we're walking the glooms, like, I'm not sure if we're going to be back, so I bring it up now. Or whatever got brought up earlier, I knocked it, and I was like, well, maybe we should because we're walking the glooms. Like, we might just teleport out of wherever we go. So yeah, we go through them. So we search them. If I remember right, like I said, it's just like four of them, and that's also why I said it's just like four of them. And one of them, Nina already stuck in her bag, like shrank and stuck in her bag. Uh, And like I said, they didn't really have much on them besides their rifles and stuff like that. Um, so we walk the glooms, go through the door, or walk through the door. And whenever we enter the glooms, we do the fortitude reflex saves, and Onyx Scar ends up rolling a 1 and ends up sinking through. And the stupid doghead Ivan has to grab him and pull him out of it. So the DM puts up a map, and it's it's hard to describe. Like I want to say it looked like a laboratory, but there's a bunch of cages, and on one side it's a bunch of dingo-looking dogs, and on the other side I want to say they're like jackals. On the far wall there's dog heads, but the DM says they don't look as advanced as Ivan and Apollo, and they're not large like he is. They're all medium. Nina says that we should stay in the glooms and not come out until we find the Wimmick, and Johan says it's fine we stay in the if we stay in until we find the Wimmick, but we are definitely coming out of the glooms. Like him being a dog owner, he's not going to stand for them experimenting on them. Like so, Nina agrees, uh, and we start to walk towards one of the hall that because there's like three entrances, and we start to head towards one, and Rawright tells the dog heads to speak to the canines and ask them to tell us where the Wimmick is, because when we first met Ivan and Apollo, Apollo only spoke dog. Um, he starts speaking to the jackal-looking ones, but they can't answer. And then one of the dingo ones yell out to him. We go across the map. He starts talking to it. Tells like ask him where the Wimmick is, and like at first he says they took the Wimmick, and we take that as like it took the Wimmick. But the more we talk to it, we realize it just meant like it took it to a different place in this building. And at one point, because since the female Tiger Wimmick couldn't walk the glooms, what we get the idea is that Onyx leads her through the door. We'll walk the glooms, come in here, and then she'll come out of the door. So her and I guess it's the sorcerer that led us to the elves. The whole time they're watching us through the door, and Ivan starts talking about the Wimmick behind him, and the dog's like, "What Wimmick behind you?" He's like, "The Wimmick right there." And like I want to say something because I realize I know that the dog can't see the door. But since I had Basker in the astral plane at this moment, none of my characters could understand what's going on. Eventually, like the sorceress guy does, like tell them, like just to clear things up, only y'all could see the doors. The dog tells us that, or the dingo tells us that the two entrances on the end lead downstairs, and that's where we'll find the Wimmick. Uh, so we head down there. Again, we see a map. The DM puts up another map. We see more of the kangaroo people, and we see like these. Also, in the last room, there were like these pig men that seem to be working. Apollo and Ivan, being gulags, are they're somewhat familiar with them. That there are other gulags that are kind of mass produced. They're usually just like muscle or servants, and they only live for a couple of weeks before their body starts getting destroyed. Then they'll send them to like where the Barcelona Coliseum is. Uh, but we get to this room, and like I said, we see these hazmat people, and in the center of the room, we see the Wimmick with a bunch of like tubes in him, and it looks like he's like passed out or asleep. Um, Nina's like, oh, I could just tell. There's also a force field around them too. Nina's like, oh, I could teleport in there and teleport him out. Um, Johan's kind of like, oh, that doesn't sound too safe to me. Like what if like there's something with his mind where you have to like wake him up correctly? And she's like, oh, it seems safe, or it seems fine. He'll just bleed a little bit. But looking back, even still, I think that it still seems a little reckless. But eventually, we come up with the plan that she'll come out of the glooms, teleport in there, teleport him out. And at first, she wants us all to go down and like meet her in the other room. But Johan says, "No, you teleport out, and then you teleport back here, and then we'll come out of the glooms." And that's what they decide to do. Uh, so the first plan goes exactly like she said. She goes in there, uh, except for when she teleports them out. The female Wimmick steps out of the door, and she just tells them to hide. She doesn't lead them back to the door, which I'm kind of like, that wasn't really the plan, but whatever. And initially, we're supposed to come out of the glooms the moment we see Nina appear. Uh, but I noticed once when she pops up on the map, the way the player starts like messing with the controls of the map, like she starts looking at the how far feet away everyone is. I could tell she's about to cast a spell, so I wait. But the DM tells us to roll initiative, and let's old school DSP this. So the group starts off pretty much here, and Nina appears there ish, give or take, and she starts off, she does a force blast, and this place is surrounded pretty much uh, when we first start. Surrounded by these guys in like these hazmat suits and already these kangaroo people that we've already fought. So Nina blasts them. We roll initiative, and Nina rolls a natural 20. Then it looks like Kokaku the things. Eventually, Basker comes in later. Right now, he's still in the astral plane. Um, and if I remember right, Raw Right rules a one. So does the hazmat suit guys. Alright, it was the things I saw earlier. The kangaroos mixed me. So Nina does the same thing again. We're still all in the glooms, even after initiative, and so after Nina is Kohaku, and then Apollo. Like it's a few before it gets to me, any of my guys, which is Onyx. It looks like, and all three of the characters I'm controlling all wait for Beck to bring us out of the glooms, because whenever his characters are coming out of the gloom, so you have to roll a will save, and if they fail, then they fall through like pretty much Onyx did when he rolled a one, or whatever. I believe Kohaku did whenever he tested was that he started to fail. So I know Onyx Gar and Ivan cut these ones off. These three here start engaging with them. Eventually, this one appears, and I'm pretty sure that that's the alpha. Like once when I realized it was a kangaroo uh, that was shooting at us, I was like, "Oh, that must be the alpha." And then Ivan starts engaging with them, and he grapples them and spends like the next 3 rounds making them pass out. So at the end of the fight, technically this guy's still alive. So as the fight progresses, I know Johan, I know, starts engaging with these ones, and he throws Basker, summons Basker, and throws it at that one. Uh, that's the unfound door, which you could barely see down there where they're watching us. Um, like throughout this campaign or this session and last session, it really seemed like Nina's player didn't want to engage in battle with these people. Like from the get go, she just wanted to sneak in, sneak out. And then even same thing when we got inside here, she just wanted to grab them and get out. And then as each one of her characters start appearing, they start saying stuff like "Rise up from your masters" and or saying stuff like "surrender," but they completely get ignored. Like uh, like I remember particularly like one of the hazmats attacked him like right after he said something about surrendering, and then he was like, "Oh, I guess they're not surrendering." Uh, I didn't think they were to begin with. But we clear this side and start pushing this side. Rawride ends up doing his mirror image because like especially Nino's characters because they all appear first. Like they're just getting welded by like these like some kind of grenade things that they're throwing at them, and I was like, it's a little too hairy for Raw Right. He hasn't got hit yet, so but he did a bunch of mirror images and started like just like scrambling them around. But eventually, we start pushing towards this area. Uh, I know Onyx, as you can see, Onyx attacks this one. Uh, I don't remember who got the last kill. We haven't been doing Who Wants to Do This anyways, but I know Nina did some spell on this one, which made him like paralyzed and like kind of like crinkled up. And like there's a few times I tried to attack him, and they were like, "That's one that's passed out." And it looks like she passed this one out too. I want to say that's what ended the fight, and that's where the DM wraps it up. Like I said last video, we ended up starting late this session. As for future predictions, I was gonna make it like where I was gonna say something, about leaving the Wimmick outside of the door, but looking at the map, like Raw Right's right next to me, I'm probably just gonna look at the door ask where the Wemmicks are, and when they tell me they're outside, have Raw Right teleport me out there, lead them through the door, and then walk back. Uh, Same thing, Johan. Immediately, Johan, I'm heading to that room where the pigs and the dingoes and stuff are. Um, I know before I leave this place, I want Raw Right to do some looting in this world, like get some music and movies and stories and stuff like that. So I'm gonna ask Beck about that. Besides that, looks like we got our last Wemmick Pride, and we should be opening the door in a session or two. You want to check that out? Watch my next videos. You want to figure out this whole story? Watch all my videos, and check you later.